Hello and welcome to the Financial Aid Informational Series presented by Upward Bound Shelton and the Capital STEM Alliance. My name is Riva Villa and I am the Director of Upward Bound Shelton. For this video, we're going to talk about how to read your financial aid award and understand the costs associated with college. But before we begin this video in earnest, I'd like to tell you a bit about the Upward Bound program. TRIO Upward Bound is a federal college access program established in 1964 under President Lyndon Johnson's administration as a response to the Civil Rights Movement. The Evergreen State College was awarded the institution's first Upward Bound grant in 1977, serving students in Tacoma. Evergreen now has 5 Upward Bound grants serving Tacoma, Lakewood, and Shelton, as well as 2 college-level TRIO grants. Upward Bound provides a variety of services to students in the districts our programs serve, including college application and enrollment tracking, assertive advising, tutoring and mentoring, support with college admissions and scholarship essays, advocacy, exposure to diverse cultures and college campuses, opportunities to gain student leadership experience, and, of course, assistance with financial aid applications. Today, I plan to talk about direct versus indirect costs of attendance for college. I also plan to talk about reading and accepting your financial aid, investing wisely in your college education, and the differences in cost between private and public institutions, as well as review a few tips for saving money on indirect costs once you're in college. Just a heads up, much of this video will contain vocabulary that may be unfamiliar. So, here's a review of some relevant terms you may hear throughout the videos. FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. It helps low-income students afford a college education by determining a family's EFC and supplementing it with grant and loan offers. The FAFSA must be completed annually for students to receive continued funding for each year of college. EFC stands for Estimated Family Contribution, which is the amount the federal government believes a family should contribute to their child's education, based on their federal income tax information. Students find this on their SAR. A student's SAR is their student aid report. These are the FAFSA results that inform a student of their family's EFC. This is also what financial aid offices use to determine students' financial aid awards. Grants are free money, like scholarships given to a student to pay for college tuition or other college-related expenses. Subsidized loans are student loans offered by the U.S. government, wherein the government pays interest on the loan while the student is in college and for 6 months after graduation, when payments are required to begin. Forbearance and deferment options are benefits available with these loans, as well as income-based repayment. Unsubsidized loans are the same as subsidized loans, except the federal government does not pay interest on these loans while the student is in college. This means that interest will accumulate through the life of the loan, adding more to what will need to be repaid in total. We will discuss student loans more in a future video. The WASFA is the Washington Application for State Financial Aid. This application functions similarly to the FAFSA, except that it is designed by the state of Washington to help low-income students at various stages of obtaining U.S. citizenship or permanent residency who live in Washington state to afford a college education. However, this application only provides grants to attend college. It does not offer loans to students. This must also be completed annually for continued funding. A Washington resident is a U.S. citizen or permanent resident who has lived in Washington state for at least 1 year and/or has graduated from a Washington state high school. It also includes non-citizens who meet the eligibility requirements outlined by House Bill 1079. To qualify for House Bill 1079 or HB 1079 benefits, students must have lived in Washington state for 3 years and graduated from a Washington state high school or received a high school equivalency like a GED. CATER are the college academic distribution requirements for Washington state. These are the credits all 4-year state institutions require a high school student have earned in order to gain admission to their schools. MPN is a master promissory note. This is a legal document in which you promise to repay your loans and any accrued interest and fees to the U.S. Department of Education. It also explains the terms and conditions of your loans. In other words, it's a student's loan contract. FERPA is the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, which is a federal law that protects the privacy of student education records. The law applies to all schools that receive funds under an applicable program of the U.S. Department of Education. BAs and AAs are bachelor's degrees, specifically Bachelor of Arts degrees, and associate's degrees, or Associate of Arts degrees. First, students and parents need to create a FSA ID, or Federal Student Aid ID. Then, students and parents or guardians should work together to complete the FAFSA or WASFA. These applications open October 1st every year, and they are based on the prior year's taxes, not taxes from last year, but from the year before. And it must be completed annually for continued funding throughout college. Next, the federal and/or state government will use the information you provided to determine an EFC. This will be on your SAR on the FAFSA website. They usually also send this information to you in an email. The federal or state government, depending on whether you filled out the FAFSA or WASFA, will send your EFC to up to 10 colleges/universities that you listed on the FAFSA or WASFA. You will then need to apply to at least one of the colleges listed on the FAFSA or WASFA. Be sure to list all schools you're considering, even if you're not considering them seriously, so that you don't have to re-sign and resubmit your FAFSA or WASFA later. You should then gain admission to at least one of the schools listed on your FAFSA or WASFA. After that point, the school will receive access to your EFC from the FAFSA or WASFA and will generate an award based on this and financial aid funding available at their institution. Grant awards are often dispersed on a first-come, first-served basis. Finally, you will need to activate your student portals for the schools you've been accepted to and view your institutional award offers. Once you've made a final decision, you'll need to submit a deposit for tuition that secures your enrollment. You should accept all or part of the offer at this time. Just a note, tuition deposits cannot be waived based on income, but they can be deferred to come out of your financial aid. You just have to ask the school's financial aid office about it, and they will direct you to the paperwork you'll need to complete in order to make that happen. Let's take a look at the cost of attendance at a popular Washington State institution, the University of Washington in Seattle. Because this video is being produced by the Capital STEM Alliance and the Upward Bound Shelton program, we will assume the majority of the audience for this video will be people from the areas we serve. So, we will focus on direct versus indirect costs of attendance for Washington State residents who qualify for in-state tuition costs, including those for whom HB 1079 applies. As you can see here, the cost of attendance listed on the college website is vague. It isn't clear what you'll be paying for on your own and what the college will actually charge you for. And this is the case for most college websites. As a result, the cost of attendance for college ends up looking higher than it actually is. So, let's break this down. What is the direct cost of attendance at a college or university? To put it bluntly, those are the costs you will be required to pay to attend the institution. For the purposes of my work, though, I like to describe it a little bit more specifically as the charges the college or university needs settled by the beginning of the quarter or semester. Those costs are housing and meals if you're living on campus, and tuition and fees. You will need to have the amount needed to pay those costs in your student account by the end of the first week of each quarter or semester. To figure out how much that will be each quarter or semester, divide the annual cost of attendance by 3 for quarter system colleges or by 2 for semester colleges. If charges for the quarter or semester are not covered by scholarships and grants from financial aid, you may need to take out student loans to cover direct costs. If we add the cost of housing and meals and resident tuition and fees, we get $26,947 in direct annual costs to attend the University of Washington in Seattle. Bear in mind, these are averages because you'll usually be offered a variety of meal plans and housing options that are valued at differing amounts. Regardless, you can see that it is significantly cheaper than the $30,640 the chart shows for resident cost of attendance at the University of Washington. Now let's look at indirect costs of attendance at a college or university. These are costs you will have while in college, but they will not necessarily be charged by the institution, like books and supplies, transportation, personal miscellaneous, listed here on the chart. That is why there is so much variation in the cost of these things depending on your living circumstances. These costs also depend on student frugality. You can often find ways to save on indirect costs while in school. For instance, you could find PDFs of many of your class texts for free online. Amazon often offers used versions of class books at a significantly reduced price. The campus bookstore will charge an exorbitant amount for books and other supplies that can easily be found online, charging upwards of $400 for textbooks on average. That being the case, the estimated cost of books on college websites is often far off. In 2021, the average cost of books and supplies was $1,240, much higher than the $900 listed here for the same academic year. Book and supply costs also depend on the classes you're taking, as photography or field science classes will cost different amounts from English or statistics classes in terms of required supplies. Transportation and personal/miscellaneous costs are also flexible depending on your financial situation, your spending habits, where you live, and whether or not your classes are largely online or remote. As you can see, the cost of $3,693 in indirect costs is negotiable and can be reduced if the student spends money wisely. Here are a couple of other examples from Washington State public colleges and universities. You must activate your student portal online to review and accept your financial aid award at each college. Your money will not be available until your award has been accepted via your student portal. Portal activation should also activate your school email. Be sure to check this email regularly or forward college emails to your personal email in case there are any changes to your financial aid award. They will likely reach out to you through your school email. This is a sample student portal for a college. As you can see, there is a list of awards that have been accepted or rejected based on the student's need and discretion. The student in this example accepted all of their financial aid award except the unsubsidized loan offer, which shows as canceled. Here is another sample award offer. This one, a redacted award for a real Shelton High School alumni who chose to attend the Evergreen State College. As you can see, this student had an EFC of 0. Above that, you can see the award offered to the student to meet their financial need. So let's compare the estimated cost of attendance for that year with the award offered to that student. The total direct cost of attendance for this student, who has chosen to live in the dorms, includes tuition and fees and room and board. This also includes a meal plan estimate. The total for these, as you can see, is $18,955.50. The financial aid award the student was offered included grants and loans that totaled $24,222. The student chose not to take the unsubsidized loan, giving the student $18,024. The aid the student chose to accept did not meet the direct cost of attendance at Evergreen, giving the student an unmet need of $696 for the year, or $232 per quarter. But with the Upward Bound waiver, which is a scholarship specific to Upward Bound students attending the Evergreen State College, which the student was later awarded, they ended up with a total of $25,417. This was enough to cover direct costs associated with attending Evergreen as well as indirect costs. Here's a closer look at the student's award and cost of attendance by quarter. As you can see, the student will receive the excess funds directly returned to them with the expectation that they will use the money to cover indirect costs associated with attending college. The cost of attendance at public colleges, those funded by the state government, is significantly lower than the cost of attending private colleges. Private colleges often provide more funding for students to attend, but the financial aid alone can't cover the enormous cost of attendance. Students attending private schools, especially if they plan to live on campus, should plan to pursue scholarships to pay for direct costs. Considering the enormous direct cost of attendance for both public and private colleges, here are some tips to help you budget your financial aid. First, always assume the direct cost of attendance for a college is underestimated and budget more than you think you may need just to be safe. You should also ask the Student Accounts Office for an itemized receipt and double-check that nothing has been charged to your account that is not required, like optional fees or default options for meals that can be reduced. Plan to save money wherever possible. Find books online. PDFs of class books are often free. Utilize campus library resources. Take advantage of student discounts. Take public transit for local trips off campus, and use cheaper lifestyle products, and so on. You can apply for roommates and housing, live in a cheaper dorm building, and choose a cheaper option for meals. You can apply for jobs on campus too that limit hours to ensure academic success and look good on your resume. By the way, you do not have to have work study to get a job on campus. You should only accept the amount of loans you'll actually anticipate you'll need to cover both direct and indirect costs while you're in school. Don't plan to work to save up for college. Take out loans if you need it instead. There are too many benefits to earning a college degree to let student loans keep you from attending. Remember, your earning potential will increase after you earn your degree, and it is easier to pay back loans at a higher wage than it is to save up for college at a lower wage. Live at home if you can. This is not the best option for students who clash with family members or who don't have the best at-home study habits. However, dorms can cost between $10,000 to $15,000 per year, which is really more like 9 months because they usually don't let you live in the dorms during the summer. With costs like that, living at home tends to be the best option for WASFA recipients since they do not qualify for loans or federal aid and will therefore have fewer financial resources to draw from in order to pay for housing on campus. Thanks for watching. This has been Riva Villa, Director for the Upward Bound Shelton program with the Evergreen State College. If you thought this was helpful, don't forget to drop a like or leave a comment and keep an eye out for the next video in our series, So You Have to Take Out Student Loans. And until next time, take care.